What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new series of episode reviews. This is going to be To Your Eternity Season 2, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
hmm Yeah, so it's been like a little over a year since season one aired. The only difference is now this season's being animated by a new studio called Studio Drive. I think the first season was animated by Brainspace. Yeah. But what's also surprising that they decided to reuse the Hikaru Utada's opening song, Pink Blood, for this season, instead of coming up with a brand new song like every other anime series does.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I mean, I like the song, but yeah, it is kind of weird that they're just reusing it. But I don't know. I guess I don't mind it too much. I mean, I kind of figured they would do this because when we got the trailer for it, they were also using it. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of hope they're not planning on doing this. Like, if they're going to do any like seasons of this in the future, if maybe they actually, they give us a new opening song or something, because I think as good as the song is, I think people are going to get sick of it eventually.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do, other than them reusing the song, I do like the new, at least the visuals for the new opening. It is very spoilery
already,
though, I think.
Yeah, it's already pretty spoiler heavy, the first season was. But yeah, so I guess they said this episode picks up 40 years after the events of the last episode. So Fushi, who's of course who we know is an immortal being, but he's pretty much throughout his entire life has been pretty tragic at best, because wherever he goes and every person he meets ends up dying, and he's and because of his immortality, he can't die for obvious reasons, other than his only weakness is going up against the knockers.
Yeah. So we kind of get caught up with what Fushi's been up to since the ending of season 1, where he's basically he's pretty much been just hanging out in the same place mostly for 40 years, because he says at some point he went into the ocean and took the form of a crab, and then he took the form of some fish or some other aquatic life, and then he eventually, I guess, transformed back into a human, and was just continued to live on. He pretty much just live on this beach, I guess, for that amount of time. I mean, it's just kind of crazy to think about. He's just been there the whole time, for 40 years, just not really not doing much of anything, I guess. I guess the knockers have just continued to rampage around and kill people, and I mean, his creator is there, and he does inform him of what the knockers are up to. I think he has killed some knockers, because he as we see, he's been eating their meat. So I guess he's been killing them and just eating them.
I'm a little bit surprised that he's actually. I don't know. It's weird that he's actually eating his enemy.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know you could really eat them, but I guess so.
Yeah, it's weird. But then all of a sudden, as soon as his creator tells him about the knockers wreaking havoc around society or different places, all of a sudden Fushi just decides to that he wants to get off the island and then go out and stop the knockers.
Yeah, I mean, he seems pretty distressed about that, the fact that that's happening. But that was kind of crazy to me. It's like he never thought that was happening this whole time. We should say too, we also see a village get attacked at the beginning of the episode too by the knockers, and it gets pretty dark. I mean, season 1 got pretty dark too, but we see I guess a girl's father get killed in front of her or something by the knockers, and just the entire village gets slaughtered. But yeah, and this is the village that Fushi's creator tells him about later, that had been just attacked by the knockers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, one woman manages to save several other people, who we find out is Tonari, who's 40 years older than.
Oh yeah, she was going by a different name, but yeah, we learned that at the end of the episode that it's Tonari.
Yeah, but of course, it ships us back into the island, in which once Fushi's getting ready to leave the island, he meets this 9-year-old girl named Hisame, well, which we find out she's the granddaughter of Hayase, who we know is like how do I describe her? He's like I would say one like, well, she's like, this woman was incredibly obsessed with Fushi, supposedly with wanting to, I guess, procreate with Fushi.
You could say she kind of falls under the yandere archetype.
Yeah.
That she was kind of like the main villain of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we pretty much learned that, of course, this girl's her granddaughter, and she seems she seems to have gotten a very like altered version of the events from from Hayase, because of course Fushi asked like, don't you know like what kind of woman Hayase was and all that, and she basically says like, I guess Hayase had told her, pretty much her version of how things happened. Maybe not exactly how things happened.
Yeah, and as we know, she informs Fushi that Hayase has already passed away at this point, which of course Fushi it's just doesn't show any sympathy for her over her death. Just
I think he pretty much also says like good too, like he's pretty happy about hearing about it, and then he gets kind of offended about that.
He's just like, good riddance to Hayase, but now like he's having to deal with her granddaughter, which she also tells Fushi that she's the reincarnation of Hayase's spirit of sorts. And then and then his creator also reveals that the people that had died in Fushi's life might have also been maybe like reincarnated at some point or something. No, I think he says
I think they wandered off
Fushi's
somewhere.
Friends. Yeah, like I think he says Fushi's friends that have died have passed on into like another, I guess you could say it's the afterlife of sorts.
Oh.
But for Hayase's case, I guess her spirit, inhabits her granddaughter of sorts, which
well, I'm kind of wondering why she's the exception in that case, like why her spirit just is allowed to reincarnate.
I think it has.
Well, actually, no, never mind. He does actually explain, like, like if somebody has like the will for it to do that, then they'll reincarnate or something. Like if they want to reincarnate badly enough, then they'll come back.
I think it also has something to do with a knocker inside Hisame's arm.
Yeah, because it does get revealed later that she has this growth on her arm that is like a knocker that's kind of living inside her, basically, like just kind of like subsisting, or just living inside of her. Of course Fushi wants to kill it, like cut it off, but Hisame doesn't want him to do that.
Yeah, if we remember, I think near the end of the first season, we see a knocker attacking Hayase, which I would assume, I guess, inhabited her body for some time before she ended up having, I guess, a child and a granddaughter soon afterwards. So I guess the knocker, I guess, passed on to her like descendants, I guess. But at this point, I don't even know what would really happen if that knocker were to be separated from Hisame or whatever. If she relies on it to live, or if it's somehow like influence.
Yeah, it's possible that they both like rely on each other or something in order to survive. Like they can't survive without the other. Yeah.
And of course, Fushi's opinion on Hisame, like he doesn't know what to think about her, other than the fact that she is the granddaughter of Hayase, but he doesn't hold any sort of grudge against her in particular, because she doesn't.
But that she's also technically Hayase herself too, or Hayase's soul.
In a way, with whether or not if it's really the same Hayase, or if this Hisame character really has the same type of personality that Hayase has, but apparently that pretty much seems to be the case by the end of the episode.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
kind of was trying to give Hisame the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, well, maybe she's different. And I feel like that was the episode. Like the episode was kind of trying to put us off guard as well. Like, as the audience, like, trying to present her as like, oh, she's not like Ayase. But then, of course, the ending of the episode kind of sort of proves us wrong a bit. But of course, like, yeah, Fushi does eventually come across this village, but it's already been, attacked. And that's when we run into Tonari, but she's going under a different name, and I don't remember what it was.
yeah,
but you don't really recognize her at first. Like, I kind of suspected it might have been her, but she looks very different, so I wasn't sure.
I mean, obviously the fact that it's been 40 years since Fushi and her like met each other, but she recognizes Fushi immediately, but Fushi doesn't even recognize her at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we do kind of find out later, like, I guess somewhat like what she's been up to. That I think she's a doctor now, and she's been, like, I guess, helping people.
And she's also with this other guy. I think he was also in the first season. I can't remember his name.
I can't remember him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I know who it is, but I just don't know his name. But eventually, like, Tonari and the others have dinner with each other, discussing what's been happening over the years and what Tonari has been doing, during the past 40 years as well. But it's also revealed that she's been also, I guess you can say she trained herself to resist different kind of poisons. Or different kind. Yeah.
Well, and of course, this is revealed like right when both Fushi and the person who was traveling with her, like, I guess pretty much pass out from being poisoned.
Yeah, it's a similar method to what Hayase did.
Yeah, I was about to say I got deja vu with this scene because it was pretty much the same kind of scene where in the season 1 where Hayase like poisoned Fushi and I think Piora and. But yeah, I mean, it's and then like Hisame did it, and of course Hisame is really annoyed that it didn't have an effect on Tonari.
Yeah, and eventually, like, she decides to take it upon herself to go after Tonari because she pretty much stands in her way of getting Fushi at this point. Even though he's already knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much where the episode ends too. It's yeah, like
it went by pretty quickly, to be honest. I thought it'd be a little bit longer.
Yeah, and of course with the ending song too, it's really similar to season 1, how it was just kind of an instrumental like ending song, and this one is as well. So yeah, it does seem like they're kind of, I mean, not only with like reusing the opening, but also kind of doing a similar thing with the ending. They're kind of just trying to, I guess, make it a little bit consistent with how it was in the first season. But yeah, it is still kind of weird there that, they didn't really change anything, or at least they didn't change the opening.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we see in the ending credits is just, I guess you could say, the spirits of the people that have interacted with Fushi, as well as some of the characters we haven't even seen before yet.
Yeah, there are some characters that are still alive from season 1 that I would definitely like to, I'm hoping to see again, and I'm pretty sure they're going to come back in some way. But yeah, I thought it's a pretty good episode. Like, honestly, if you didn't tell me that this was a different studio though, like, I wouldn't have known, because it does, like, and I guess it's because the same staff is working on it, but it looks pretty much exactly the same as season 1, maybe a little bit better, but yeah, it just looks, it pretty much looks the same, I would say. But not that it's bad. Like, it's, season 1 looked pretty good as well. So visually, I think it looks fine. And yeah, I do find it, I guess, how Fushi, I guess, is somewhat developed as a character interesting, because before, it's in season 1, he seemed more like, it was a slow process of him like learning human language and how to interact with people. And it seems like, after all this time has passed in season 2, like he acts more like, I would assume that, acts more like a normal person. Like he's much different in that regard as he was, as opposed to how he was in season 1.
I'm a little bit surprised that that Fushi's managed to remain sane over the 40 years he's lived in exile. Because I
Yeah.
thought, I mean, other than the fact that he's been mostly interacting with his creator for all these years, like he's mostly been living alone by himself.
Yeah,
You would think like living in
and
isolation.
I was
for
kind of
40 years.
surprised, like too, like that nobody had really, really had come looking for him or anything like that, except for now at least. Like, now of course conveniently they find him after like 40 years or so. So I was like, yeah, okay, I guess nobody's really put a lot of effort in trying to find him. But yeah, like I said, I kind of find that interesting how Fushi's, now he does definitely feel different as a character, which he should, because there's so much time has passed in between season 1 and 2. But yeah, I think it's a good start to the second season, and I don't really have too much else to say about it. I don't really know exactly what we can expect. Maybe some more of what we got from season 1, where Fushi is just going to go to these different places and, maybe befriend some people, and then those people are going to die. So I don't know, maybe that's, the same thing's going to happen. Who knows? But yeah, so far it's it's definitely pretty good. So I don't really have too much else to say about it. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
I thought it was an okay episode. It like I initially thought it was gonna have like an emotional beginning like they did with season 1.
Yeah.
But it just seems like it just seems like they're just picking up where they left off last year.
Yeah, I mean, so much time has passed. It's more so just trying to fill us in on what's been going on with Fushi, which really hasn't been that much. But just kind of just going over that, and just also reintroducing some of older characters and introducing new ones. So I mean, yeah, it's not the emotional start we got from season 1. It's more just trying to, I guess, set up something new. But yeah, with that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.